Please don't hurt me. I'm already broken, she whispered, her voice trembling as she backed into the cold brick wall, her eyes filled with a kind of fear that only comes from a life that has already taken too much. Rain poured heavily that night, soaking the empty street in a dull gray sadness. Streetlights flickered weakly, casting long shadows that seemed to stretch like silent witnesses. She stood there, fragile, her hands shaking, her breathing uneven, as if every second felt like it could be her last. Across from her stood a man whose presence alone carried danger, his anger rising with every passing moment. And just when it seemed like the world had decided to look away once again, someone didn't. Before we go further into this powerful story, take a moment. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the strength of human compassion, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, Kindness Stories. Your support helps spread stories that truly matter. He hadn't planned to be there that night. Armin, a single father of a 7-year-old daughter, had just finished a long shift. Life had not been easy on him either. Ever since losing his wife 3 years ago, every day had been a quiet battle. Between grief and responsibility, between exhaustion and love. He worked tirelessly, not just to survive, but to give his daughter a life that still felt warm despite the emptiness they both carried. That night, he was heading home, his jacket damp from the rain, his mind occupied with simple worries, whether his daughter had eaten, whether she had finished her homework, whether she had missed him. But then he heard it. That voice. That fragile, breaking plea, something inside him froze. He turned. At first, he hesitated. The world had taught him to be careful, to not get involved, to think twice before stepping into something dangerous. But there was something about her voice. It wasn't just fear. It was surrender. The kind that comes when someone has stopped believing they deserve to be saved. And that, he couldn't ignore. Without thinking further, Armin stepped forward. His footsteps echoed on the wet pavement as he approached, his presence cutting through the tension. The man turned, annoyed, his expression darkening at the interruption. But Armin didn't stop. He didn't shout. He didn't threaten. He simply placed himself between them. It wasn't strength that guided him. It was something deeper, something raw, something human. For a moment, the world held its breath. The rain continued to fall, but everything else felt still. The kind of stillness where one decision can change everything. The man laughed bitterly, trying to intimidate him, trying to remind him that this wasn't his business. And maybe it wasn't. But Armin stood his ground. Because sometimes, doing the right thing means stepping into something that was never yours to begin with. There was a quiet determination in his eyes, the kind that comes from someone who has already lost too much to fear losing anything else. After what felt like forever, the tension broke. The man stepped back, muttering under his breath before disappearing into the darkness, leaving behind nothing but echoes of what could have been. And just like that, the storm inside that alley began to calm. She slid down the wall, her body too weak to hold itself anymore. Her tears mixed with the rain as silent sobs escaped her lips. Armin didn't rush toward her. He didn't overwhelm her. He simply stayed there, giving her space, letting her feel safe in her own time. Because sometimes, saving someone isn't about grand gestures. It's about quiet presence. When she finally looked up, her eyes met his, not with trust, not yet, but with a fragile hope. A question. A silent why. Why would a stranger care? Why would anyone step in? Armin didn't have an answer. Or maybe he did, but it wasn't something that could be explained with words. He simply offered his hand, not forcing, not expecting.